Every woman carries within her a silent question. Do you really see me? Not my looks, not my charm, not the version of me the world claps for, but the real me. The woman behind the smile, behind the strength, behind the act she plays every single day. When a woman listens to your words, she doesn't just hear the sound. You are planting emotions inside her. A woman's heart is built around emotional safety, and the way you speak to her can either strengthen that safety or shatter it. When your words make her feel secure, understood, and unjudged, she lets down her guard and opens herself in a way that no charm, no looks, and no performance could ever achieve. Emotional safety is the invisible foundation of every bond. You may think that attraction alone is enough, but attraction without safety is shallow, temporary, and fragile. What truly creates a lasting connection is when a woman feels that she can be herself around you without fear of being mocked, criticized, or dismissed. That safety doesn't come from promises of forever or exaggerated words. It comes from the authenticity and consistency of your voice. When you tell her, I understand why you feel this way, you are not just acknowledging her emotions. You are telling her that her inner world matters to you. When you say, you don't need to have everything figured out right now, you are giving her permission to rest from the endless weight of expectations the world has put on her shoulders. These are not lines to manipulate. These are words that carry the power of presence. She resists performance, but she surrenders to honesty. Many men fail to recognize that women are constantly tested by a world that measures them by their looks, achievements, or ability to please others. In that battle, what they crave most is a safe space, a place where they don't have to perform. If your words create that space, you become unforgettable. It doesn't mean you need to always fix her problems or have the right answers. It means you choose your words with intention, so she knows that she doesn't have to fight her battles alone. The beauty of creating emotional safety through words is that it doesn't require grand speeches or rehearsed declarations. Sometimes it's as simple as saying, I'm listening, and meaning it. Sometimes it's in the tone you use when you tell her, it's okay to feel this way. Sometimes it's in the patience of your silence that tells her she is free to express herself without judgment. In those moments, resistance fades, and what grows is trust, the very currency of love and connection. When a woman feels emotionally safe with you, she no longer sees you as just a man she's with. She sees you as her anchor, the one she can lean on, the one she can reveal her fears to, the one she can trust not to weaponize her vulnerabilities. And that is where real intimacy is born. Because at the core of it all, every woman is asking the same silent question, am I safe with you? And the way you answer that is not through gifts, promises, or appearances. It is through the words that tell her, you are safe here. You can be yourself. I see you. Validation is one of the deepest emotional needs a woman carries, yet it is often misunderstood. Most men confuse validation with flattery. They think that showering her with endless compliments about her beauty, her smile, or her body will open her heart. But the truth is, flattery is shallow, and women can sense when it is empty. Validation, on the other hand, goes beyond surface-level praise. It acknowledges her essence, her effort, her character, and her presence in a way that makes her feel seen and valued. Flattery is easy. Anyone can say, you're gorgeous, or you look amazing today. And while those words might feel nice for a moment, they don't penetrate her soul. They don't leave a lasting mark because she knows they can be repeated to anyone else. Validation is rare because it requires presence. It requires you to actually pay attention. When you notice her strength in moments where she doubts herself, when you acknowledge her kindness that often goes unnoticed, when you see her resilience in the face of her struggles, those words strike a chord she cannot ignore. Validation tells her that she is more than a face, more than a body, more than a moment of attraction. It says, I value you for who you are and how you show up in this world. And that kind of recognition is powerful. It gives her a sense of worth that no mirror can reflect and no audience can applaud. Because deep down, every woman longs to know that she is more than the roles she plays for others. She wants to know that someone sees the layers beneath her surface. The reason validation is irresistible is because it speaks directly to her truth. When she hears, I respect how you handle difficult situations, she feels acknowledged for her strength. When you say, I notice how much you care about people even when they don't notice it themselves, she feels appreciated for her heart. These words can never be mistaken for empty flattery because they are rooted in observation and sincerity. Validation also creates emotional intimacy. It makes her feel that she doesn't have to fight for recognition because someone already notices the parts of her that she doesn't advertise to the world. It creates a bond of trust because she realizes you are not merely impressed by her surface. You are attentive to her substance. And when a woman feels that kind of validation, resistance dissolves because you are giving her what the world rarely gives: acknowledgement without agenda. Most importantly, validation makes her feel safe enough to be herself. If she knows you value her essence, she doesn't need to exaggerate her strengths or hide her flaws. She can exist in front of you without performance because your words have already told her that she is enough. This is why validation is powerful. It isn't about inflating her ego, it's about affirming her humanity. And when you do that with honesty, she feels something she will not resist: the comfort of being deeply recognized. There are 3 words that every woman secretly longs to hear: I see you. These words carry a power far greater than the most romantic declarations or the most elaborate compliments. To a woman, being truly seen is not about someone noticing her appearance, her achievements, or the way she presents herself to the world. It is about someone recognizing the deeper layers of her, the emotions she hides, the struggles she endures, the dreams she carries quietly in her heart. When you say, I see you, and mean it, you are acknowledging her existence in the most profound way. Most women spend their lives being observed but not seen. They are judged for their looks, admired for their charm, or acknowledged for their accomplishments. Yet very few people pause long enough to look beyond the surface. This is why the phrase, I see you, becomes irresistible. It is not just about recognition, it is about validation of the soul. It tells her that she is not invisible, that she doesn't have to keep pretending, and that someone is aware of the real person she is when no one else is watching. When you look at her and say those words, you are telling her that she does not need to fight for attention because she already has your presence. You are telling her that she does not need to perform because her authenticity is enough. This is the gift every woman is waiting for, even if she never admits it out loud. To be truly seen is to be accepted, and to be accepted is to feel safe. The power of I see you is not in the words themselves, but in the way they are delivered. If they come from a place of truth, they pierce through her walls and touch her heart instantly. If they are spoken with honesty, she feels them as more than a phrase. She feels them as a mirror reflecting back her true self. And in a world where she is often overlooked or misunderstood, this kind of recognition is healing. Saying I see you is not about flattery or exaggeration. It's about noticing the little things, the way she sacrifices without asking for credit, the way she pushes through her struggles without complaint, the way she holds herself together when the world expects her to fall apart. When you notice these hidden parts of her and give them a voice, you make her feel something rare, understood. And when a woman feels understood, resistance fades. Every woman is carrying a story. Some of those stories are heavy with pain, others with silent victories no one else has witnessed. When you say, I see you, you are telling her that her story matters. You are saying that you notice what others ignore. You are declaring that she does not have to carry her existence in silence. That is why these three words hold so much power. They do not just acknowledge her, they liberate her. A woman can always tell the difference between a man who is present and a man who is performing. Performance might impress her for a short while, but presence touches her in a way performance never can. Presence means you are fully with her, not distracted, not pretending, not wearing a mask to get her attention. It means your words, your tone, your body language all align to tell her, I am here with you, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. That experience is rare, and that is why it is irresistible. Performance is exhausting to a woman because it feels rehearsed, unnatural, and shallow. When a man tries too hard to impress, she may smile, but inside she feels the gap between what he shows and who he is. Women are intuitive. They can sense when you're trying to win them with borrowed lines, exaggerated gestures, or forced charm. But when you are present, you don't need to perform. Your attention alone communicates more than any rehearsed act ever could. Presence is power because it gives her something she cannot buy and cannot demand, the feeling of being the center of someone's undivided focus. In a world full of noise, distractions, and constant competition for attention, being fully present with her is the greatest gift. When you listen without interrupting, when you notice the small details of her mood, when you respond with sincerity instead of generic phrases, you are showing her that she matters. And to a woman, few things are more irresistible than the feeling of mattering. When you choose presence over performance, you also create an environment of trust. She doesn't have to question your motives because you're not putting on a show. She doesn't have to wonder if you say the same things to every woman because your words come naturally, tailored to the moment, rooted in truth. Performance fades quickly, but presence lingers in her memory long after the conversation ends. Being present also means being comfortable with silence. You don't need to fill every moment with words to keep her engaged. Sometimes it is in the stillness of your presence that she feels your strength the most. A calm, steady presence tells her that she doesn't need to be anyone else around you. She doesn't need to perform either. She can relax because you already accept her as she is. The truth is, presence requires courage. It requires you to drop the act, silence the ego, and risk being authentic. And authenticity always wins over performance. A woman will resist the man who hides behind a mask, but she will open her heart to the one who dares to stand in his truth. Because what she desires most is not perfection, it is connection. And connection can only be born when you are fully present. When you embody presence, you communicate with your energy, not just your words. You tell her without saying it that you are not here to impress, you are here to connect. And in that space, resistance disappears because you have given her the one thing every woman longs for, your real self. One of the most powerful ways to connect with a woman is by becoming her emotional mirror. This doesn't mean repeating her words or copying her feelings, but reflecting her emotions in a way that shows her you are tuned in, present, and empathetic. When a woman feels that her emotions are not only heard but also understood, she experiences a level of connection that is rare. It is this reflection of her inner world that makes her drop her guard and let you into her heart. Most women are not looking for someone to fix their problems every time they speak. They are not always seeking advice, solutions, or even logic. What they want first is acknowledgement. They want to know that what they are feeling makes sense, that their emotions are valid, and that they don't have to hide or downplay them. When you mirror her emotions back to her by saying things like, I can see how much this situation hurt you, or It sounds like that really mattered to you. You are letting her know that she is not invisible. You are creating a bridge of understanding. Being an emotional mirror requires presence. It requires you to put aside your urge to defend, argue, or rush through the conversation. Instead, it calls for patience and attention. When you mirror her feelings, you are telling her, I am not just hearing your words, I am feeling what you feel. This is deeply powerful because it shows her that you are not only engaged with her mind, but also with her heart. The truth is, many women resist opening up because they fear being misunderstood or dismissed. They worry that if they reveal too much, they will be judged or their emotions will be minimized. But when you act as her emotional mirror, you erase that fear. You tell her through your words and your responses that her emotions are safe with you, that she doesn't have to edit herself or hide parts of her truth, that she can lay down her defenses because you are not here to fight her feelings, you are here to reflect them back with care. This act of mirroring is not manipulation. It's not about saying what she wants to hear. It's about aligning yourself with her experience in that moment. It's about being so attentive that you can understand the emotion behind the words. If she's sharing anger, you reflect her frustration. If she's expressing sadness, you mirror her pain. If she's excited, you amplify her joy. In each case, you're proving to her that you are emotionally present with her, not detached. When a woman feels mirrored, she feels seen. When she feels seen, she feels safe. And when she feels safe, she opens in ways she never will with someone who only listens passively or dismisses her emotions. This is why emotional mirroring is irresistible. It tells her, your feelings matter here. I'm not afraid of them. I honor them. And in that moment, resistance melts away, replaced by connection, trust, and closeness. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, yet in truth, it is one of the greatest forms of strength a man can show. A woman is drawn not to the walls you build around yourself, but to the courage it takes to lower them. The soft power of vulnerability is irresistible because it reveals authenticity. It shows her that you are not hiding behind ego, bravado, or performance. You are willing to be real, and nothing connects more deeply than realness. When you share your vulnerabilities, you are not handing away control. You are creating intimacy. You are saying, I trust you enough to let you see what others don't. That trust does something profound. It invites her to trust you in return. Women are highly attuned to authenticity. They know when you are putting on a show to appear strong, and they also know when your strength comes from a place of honesty. The man who pretends to be unshakable may impress her for a moment, but the man who admits, I don't have it all figured out, but I'm working on it, wins her heart. Vulnerability does not mean oversharing or drowning her with every insecurity. It means revealing just enough of your truth to let her know you are human. It could be admitting that you were nervous before an important moment. It could be sharing a past struggle that shaped you. It could be telling her that you value her presence more than your pride wants to admit. These small moments of honesty cut deeper than any performance because they carry the weight of courage. The beauty of vulnerability is that it softens the space between two people. It removes the invisible mask that so many wear to protect themselves. When you are vulnerable, you make her feel like she doesn't need to be perfect around you either. She realizes she doesn't have to perform or pretend to win your approval because your openness has already given her permission to be herself. That exchange of truth creates a bond that is difficult to break. Many men avoid vulnerability because they fear rejection. They fear that if they show cracks, they will lose respect or appear less masculine. But the opposite is true. Vulnerability, when expressed with confidence, commands respect. It shows that you are strong enough to own your story, no matter how imperfect it may be. And to a woman, that kind of honesty is far more magnetic than flawless appearances. The soft power of vulnerability also builds emotional depth. It takes your connection beyond surface attraction and creates a space where she feels she is not just with a man, but with a human being who trusts her with his inner world. When she feels trusted, she naturally responds with trust of her own. And when trust flows both ways, resistance vanishes. Because in the end, what she truly desires is not a perfect man, but a real one. A man who can laugh at his mistakes, admit his fears, and share his truth without shame. That kind of vulnerability is not weakness, it is power. The kind of power that doesn't push or demand, but gently pulls her closer in a way she cannot resist. Every word you speak carries two layers, the literal meaning and the unspoken message behind it. A woman may hear the sentence, but what she feels is the intention. She listens not only with her ears, but also with her intuition. This is why two men can say the exact same phrase, yet only one of them leaves a lasting impact. The difference lies in the energy, the tone, and the unspoken message carried in their words. When you tell a woman, "I'm here for you," the literal words are simple. But what she pays attention to is whether your voice sounds rushed, distracted, or genuine. If the tone matches the words, she feels comfort. If it doesn't, she feels distance. Women are naturally skilled at reading between the lines. They sense the truth not just in what you say, but in how you say it. This is why the unspoken message is more powerful than the actual phrase. It tells her whether your words can be trusted. The unspoken message is carried in your presence. If you say, "I care about you," but your eyes avoid hers, the message weakens. If you say, "You matter to me," but your actions contradict it, she will never believe it. But when your words align with your presence, when your tone, your eye contact, and your body language support what you say, she feels it on a deeper level. In that moment, the phrase transforms from mere sound into an emotional truth. What makes this so irresistible is the certainty it creates. A woman does not resist because of what is said. She resists because of what is missing. If she senses hesitation, insecurity, or inconsistency, she withdraws. But when the unspoken message behind your words is steady, calm, and confident, she feels safe. She realizes she can trust not just the phrase, but the man who stands behind it. Even silence carries an unspoken message. The way you pause before speaking, the way you hold space for her without rushing, the way you listen without judgment, these communicate volumes. Sometimes the words may be few, but the energy behind them is so strong that she feels more than she hears. That feeling is what stays with her. Long after she forgets the exact sentence, she remembers the unspoken message that she was valued, that she was safe, that she was truly heard. This is why the most powerful statements often don't come from dramatic speeches, but from ordinary words spoken with authenticity. A simple, "I'm proud of you," can move her deeply if the message behind it is real. A quiet, "I see you," can touch her heart if it carries the weight of truth. It is never just the phrase, it is the soul you put into it. When you master the art of aligning your words with your unspoken message, you no longer need to chase her attention. She feels you without effort. She knows that your words are not empty because the energy behind them tells her everything she needs to know. And in that alignment, resistance disappears. There is one statement that holds a power unlike any other, and it is not the dramatic declarations of love, not the poetic words that sound rehearsed, and not the promises of forever that are easy to make but hard to keep. The most irresistible statement a woman can hear is simple yet profound. I see the real you, and I value her. These words go deeper than attraction, deeper than admiration, because they answer the need that every woman carries quietly inside, the need to be recognized for who she truly is. Most of the time, women are valued for the surface. They are noticed for their beauty, praised for their accomplishments, or admired for their strength. But rarely do they feel that someone sees beyond all of that, into the layers that are hidden. Every woman has a version of herself that she shows to the world and another version she guards closely, the side with insecurities, fears, unspoken dreams, and private struggles. When you say, I see the real you, you are telling her that you have looked past the masks, past the performance, and into her essence. That kind of recognition is powerful because it makes her feel both exposed and safe at the same time. The second part of the statement, and I value her, is equally important. To be seen is vulnerable, but to be valued in that vulnerable state is transformative. It tells her that she doesn't need to hide, that she doesn't need to polish herself to earn your acceptance. You are telling her that the woman she really is, the unfiltered version, the one who doesn't always have it together, is enough. That truth gives her the freedom to relax in your presence because she no longer feels like she has to perform for your approval. This statement is irresistible because it speaks to a woman's deepest fear and her deepest desire. Her fear is that if someone saw her true self, they might walk away. Her desire is that someone will see her true self and choose to stay. By saying, I see the real you and I value her, you dissolve that fear and fulfill that desire in a single moment. But these words cannot be spoken lightly. They must come from observation, from presence, and from sincerity. A woman knows when words are empty and when they are rooted in truth. To tell her you see her, you must actually pay attention to how she carries herself in difficult times, to how she cares for others when no one notices, to the quiet strength she hides behind her smile. Only then will your words have the weight that makes them undeniable. When spoken with honesty, this statement doesn't just touch her heart. It stays with her. It lingers in her memory because it is so rare to feel truly seen and valued. And once she feels it, resistance fades, walls crumble, and connection becomes natural. Because every woman, at the core of her being, longs to be looked at and loved not for what she shows, but for who she really is. And when you give her that gift, she cannot resist it. At the heart of everything we've explored, one truth stands above all. Women don't fall for empty words, rehearsed lines, or grand performances. They respond to presence, to recognition, to authenticity. When you create emotional safety, when you validate without flattery, when you show her that you truly see her and reflect her feelings back, you are speaking a language deeper than words. Vulnerability, honesty, and the unspoken energy behind what you say, these are the things that make a woman trust you, open up to you, and connect with you. The irresistible statement is not some magic phrase. It is the reflection of your truth. When you can look at her and genuinely say, I see the real you and I value her, you are answering the very question she carries silently in her heart. Am I enough as I am? And the moment she feels the answer is yes, not because you told her in passing, but because you showed her through your presence and your words, her resistance will disappear. What remains is connection, real, deep, and unforgettable connection.